No.
They're 5'4".
Yes, 5'4". Without heels, 5'4". Where's my phone? I don't know. It's over there somewhere. Thank you, sir.
Oh my
I
God.
throw it, but I know you're not
Not today. Just go over there.
Mira lo que tu social media, que tu media me hace hacer.
What they do?
Me traen.
We need to review that footage with the Florida, with that guy in the back.
Oh yeah.
That was good.
And
Actually.
we weren't live yet because media team didn't have their stuff in order yet.
You don't have it?
No.
And the camera right there?
Man, the one time the Spanish podcast was exciting and we
Damn.
missed it.
The one time.
Sass.
Saz. Did we get that on camera? Did we get that on
Tiene
camera?
sed, toma, dijo.
Oh.
We are live. That wasn't on camera though. It's all good. All right, guys, how y'all feeling today?
Very good.
Good.
Very
How's been y'all's week?
Productive.
Busy.
Busy.
Actually working?
Yeah, I'm not surprised because you're one of the fewer agents here in the company that actually works. What's been going on your books? Like, how is the market looking from your end?
I'm busy. I feel like last year at this time I was a little bit busier. Where at the same time I was putting like probably a little bit more work. But now I need to catch up. I need to be able to hit my goals at the end of the year. So I'm working.
So you feel like you were busier this time last year than right now?
Yes.
Let me ask you this: did you have more buyers or sellers around that time?
Okay, that's interesting. I was busier with buyers last year at this time, I think, but now I'm busier with sellers.
Gotcha. And the fact that you have a little bit more sellers now, it's actually opening up different doors for you because you've
Yes.
had different events. You're meeting a lot of different people out there. I mean, even the marketing campaign that we're working on earlier today is not something that I've seen you jump on like the last year at all.
Yeah, because I feel like, I always have said this. I love working with both buyers and sellers, but, they both need, my time as an agent differently. So, being with buyer's agent, you have to have your foot out and about in the field all the time.
just
Like-
your foot, or
I mean,
or,
todo. Everything. I mean, no. I mean, yes.
This
Like,
isn't OnlyFans where it's just feet.
I mean, you have to really be out and about and doing a bunch of showings. So whenever you work with sellers, you work a little bit differently. The strategies that you use are way different than whenever you're working with only like buyers.
Gotcha. And what have you seen that's been more, I wouldn't say frustrating, but what's the bigger challenge you've seen right now with sellers? That way there's another seller who's thinking about putting their house on the market. What's something that you're experiencing? I've been able to see on the back end as well. So if you're lying, I'll be able to know.
Pricing. Pricing has been honestly my biggest issue because, a lot of times whenever somebody gets, on the stage where like they're ready to sell, they have in mind a number that they want to clear. A lot of times that number it's above, being realistically on how much money they are going to be able to clear at the end of the day.
And not even necessarily above, but it is unrealistic in general.
Yes.
Whenever they have competition on the same street, same model, same design, same size, everything, exact replica, right? Especially for these communities that were not necessarily a master plan community, but just if there was a builder there, Lennar, DR Horton, a Castle Rock, whatever it may be, you have the same house maybe on the same street, not right next door to each other, but if the one down the street is selling for $290 and you're listed at $380, like there's just no way.
There's no way. Yes, and I actually experienced something, pretty similar to that scenario that you just gave, which, eventually the house next door got under contract. It was the perfect example to tell my clients, like, this is, the reason that we should, price properly and accordingly to where we're at and to what we have. But a lot of times, like, we have what there is, like, very, very, like, stubborn clients that don't see or don't want to see beyond, you know, what they want to see.
And the problem there is not necessarily our problem there, right? Because we're not the ones who have the mortgage payments. We're not the ones who need to sell the house. Of course, we get paid from selling the house, but if the house doesn't sell, we're not wasting money out of our pocket. Our job is to get the home sold as soon as possible for them for the amount that the market says. And what I'm seeing is a lot of these sellers don't understand how much it's actually going to cost them by not listing at the right price, meaning they're going to have a mortgage for 6 months, 8 months, whatever it may be. A lot of more marketing goes into it. That's on our end. A lot more time goes into it on our end. A lot more headaches, a lot more anxiety on their end, not being able to do whatever they need to do to go to the next phase in life. It's what's costing them by not pricing accordingly. And at the end of the day, what ends up happening? The price that you tell them the first time you met them, 6 months prior to where they're closing at, is a price at the home sells.
Definitely, and sorry that let me just say this. So a lot of times, what also sellers don't understand is that, you know, at the end of the day, an appraisal. I mean, if you're getting a client that is getting financed, you know, an appraisal has to be done. So what's gonna come to that? You know, if an appraiser says, you know, like the house next door to you sold for like, I don't know, 315, and you're trying to sell your house for 350. I mean, where do you like what's the word, adjust, or where are you coming from saying
How do you
like
justify?
exactly, that's the word. How do you justify, you know, that $35,000 difference?
But and you know, I think I know what Giovanni's talking about. But at the same time, you know, I think I've told you guys before, right? I come from a builder background, developer, you know, background, and so the thing is that, you know, I have seen communities, right, where they don't sell very well. You know, you're building a home, you're building a product, and you don't sell very well, right? And you get with the sales counselor out there, and the sales counselor is like, oh, there's no traffic. Oh, it's too far. Oh, people can't find it. It's really tough to get back here. Oh, the homes are you know, one-car garage or you know, only three-sided brick or whatever their excuses are. You always find the sales counselor that has all the excuses in the book, right? And so you rotate. You say, hey, you know what, sales counselor? You're going to move to another neighborhood. I'm going to bring somebody else in. And you bring in fresh blood. You bring in somebody that doesn't know any better, that doesn't have any of the objections, right? And this guy starts selling like crazy, right? And the reason that he sells like crazy is because he believes in the product. He believes in what he's selling. He sees the value, and that's why he sells it, you know? Now, I get it, you know, whenever you're talking to buyers, you know, a seller's always going to feel like his home is worth more than what it is, right? But, you know, sometimes, you know, especially whenever you're looking into, you know, a person that has purchased 3-4 homes before, you know, like he's on his third or fourth home. He's no dummy. He knows what homes sell for. He knows what the value is. He knows what he paid for. And so sometimes you kind of got to get down at his, you know, kind of see it from his eyes and find value in that house yourself, right? And stop trying to compare it to the house down the street or the house that you like personally, right? And I've seen that happen before where I see a house and I just don't like it. I just don't believe in it. And that's what separates the pro realtor from the just regular realtor. It separates him by him seeing the value, and whenever he talks to the other agent or if he brings a buyer, he will sell that home and show them the value that the seller and that the listing agent sees now.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yes.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. If you don't find the value in the product that you're selling, I mean, you're not sold on it yourself. How are you going to sell somebody else on how important this product is to them, or how you think that this is priced accordingly, right? And how this works out for them. The issue comes back to whenever, because you're talking new construction, right? New construction, I'm not saying that you can price set, quote unquote, but the market kind of does follow what's going on within a larger scale within that community. When we're talking about one house in an older community or two houses, whatever it may be, right? In an older community, the value of that product, the value of that home is dictated by the appraisal. you're not going to get away from the appraisal. Now, if a buyer thinks that it's willing to pay an extra 60, 80, 90, $100,000 above market value, like we had that happening during the pandemic, but why did that happen? There was scarcity. Right now, it's not necessarily scarcity, right? It might be scarcity on how many houses we do have on the market, but there's also scarcity on the buying side, right? So it kind of evens out. So you can't sell necessarily a product. It doesn't matter how much you believe in it. At the end of the day, if it's not at the value what the market dictates, it's not going to sell. It might not even appraise at the end of the day.
Well, when it comes to new home sales, it's you can't compare a resale to a new build, even in the neighborhood. Even if it's
agree.
even it's
Oh
even if
my
it's
God.
even if it's the home next door to the one that's being built.
Those are, personally,
hardest- yeah,
those
hard
are
ones.
the hardest one to resell, and are probably the ones that are going to drain you. Like,
well, it won't drain you if you explain to them correctly, what we're talking about here, okay? Because you see, the appraisals on the new builds are cost, they're essentially, I mean, they do comps, with other resales, but essentially what they are is cost of building, What does it cost to build right now, And so they're always going to have a better appraisal than a resale, On top of that, right, and this is what I always tell or what I used to tell my sellers whenever they were trying to sell in a new community. I would tell them, look, you're selling against a brand new home that is being appraised as a price, a price to build, and so what ends up happening is that on top of that, the builder has incentives or has money that it can give to give a better price, to give a discount, to do whatever it needs to do to sell that home. And the reason they can do that is because they have 10 homes.
yes.
You're selling one home. So it's a whole different market that you can't compete with. So whenever somebody wants to sell in a neighborhood that's a resale, the first thing that I do is I say, hey, let me see your spec sheet. Let me see the price sheet. Let me see the upgrades, the option sheet, right? And the reason that I say that is because, okay, now you bought this home. You're upgraded. You have an upgraded lot. You have an upgraded elevation. You have all these options that you paid for, right?
Right.
And you're trying to compare that to a new home that somebody can build brand new right now, that the builder will give them money to purchase the home, incentives to buy the home, and give them closing costs. So are you ready to do that? You got to remember, all these options, everything that you did here, that was extras that you paid for, that essentially you took a loss for it, It wasn't going to add any value to your home. So are you ready to pay for that? No, I'm not ready to pay for that. Okay, then we don't need to list this house. We don't need to list this house. We need to put this house on the market for lease, or you just need to sit in this house and wait until the neighborhood is done. Because once the neighborhood is done, then you're not competing against a builder anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly. I actually just had somebody else call me, and they were in the Woodlands area? They were in the Woodlands area, and they've already gone through, I think it was like 3 realtors at the time. 2 of them were referred, the other one they found it on themselves, and now they were calling me, and they wanted my opinion on their home. So I do my research, I look at what's going on. They're surrounded by new construction. No, it wasn't the Woodlands because they're surrounded by new construction. They're surrounded by new construction. They're priced at what the new construction is selling for. I do the numbers on their house. That builder is no longer in the community. However, the other builders are roughly around the price that they were listed at. And then I asked them, I was like, okay, well, what kind of incentives are you giving? Oh, well, I'm not giving anything. I'm just listing it for accordingly. I was like, why did your realtor list for that? Because that's the price that I wanted to list for. And I was like, well, I'll tell you right now, the good thing is, I don't think it's necessarily a pricing issue. It might be $10,000, $15,000 where I would list that. But number one issue is you're surrounded by new construction. You have nobody to walk through that community to go and view your house before they stop by all these new construction. I was like, that's going to be your main problem is marketing. And I was like, how are you going to handle that? Oh, well, if I don't want to list with another realtor. I want to do this job on my own. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, well, your main problem is your marketing issue. It's like, if I can't get what I want from my house, like, I'm not going to list this. That's fine. It's either not time for you to list, or I'm not going to list it and waste my time doing it. it's a marketing issue. If you're willing to pay for the marketing, that's fine. And I introduced them to a company that I know who does marketing, and I was like, that's who I use for my personal marketing. If you want to take a shot at it, I was like, it's not a price issue. I don't think you're overpriced crazy, right? They're not overpriced to 100,000. 10 to 15 maybe is where I would list that. But their problem there was marketing. Sometimes it's not just price.
Right.
There's a lot more that takes into selling a house. Like I told them, like the bare minimum that your realtor did was throw the house on the market and did an open house. That's the bare minimum. It takes a lot more to sell a house than that, especially in that community.
And, you know, and the thing about it is that, you know, in Texas, right, and I think we've talked about this before, right, you know, you couldn't sell your own home. You could do your own contracts. Realtors can do contracts for you. You don't need an attorney to do these things. And so what ends up happening is when you start running into, like, you know, engineers, you start running into executives, you start running into, you know, people who know their way around documents, contracts, et cetera, right? They kind of see it as in like, hey, I don't need you. I can do this myself, right? And so, but, you know, they run into the same issue that builders run into, right? Builders, some small builders, not successful builders, but small builders. Small builders have, you know, this whole, if I build it, they will come. My product is so awesome that it sells itself. All I have to do is throw the house up and somebody will drive by and fall in love with it. And that's just not so. That does not happen at all. And so same thing, you know, with the you know, for sale by owners, right? They think, oh, you know, I put in an outdoor kitchen in this thing, and I put Egyptian tile, and I imported quartz from Turkey, and, you know, and they think that they did all these things, and that these things add value to their home, and it's you know, it's going to sell itself, right? But it just doesn't, you know. A realtor, you know, really helps sell that home. And even builders, successful builders, right? National builders, yes, they have their own sales counselors in-house, right? Selling those homes with the product knowledge, but they still have to employ realtors to get that deal done. And the reason is because, you know, once again, it's so simple that you know, it's so simple that you would think people would figure it out. But you have a beautiful home. You have done everything to this house. I mean, you've decked it out with the best flooring, cabinets, everything, right? And you want to sell it, and somebody calls you from a sign and comes into your house and says, "Oh man, I don't like this flooring." You know, you're like, "What? What do you mean like this flooring? This flooring, I imported this flooring, you know? I imported this flooring from Egypt. What are you talking about, you know?" And it just falls into that whole, you know, you start turning into it starts turning into a match. It starts turning into a fight. It starts turning into, I don't like this guy. Get out of my house, you know?
Yes.
And the thing is that the realtor really takes the brunt of everything. He takes the brunt of this person, you know, upset with the buyer, and the buyer upset with the seller, you know, and they're needed. They're a for lack of better words, they're a lubricant.
We are essential.
Yeah,
That's
because
why
just because you
realtors
put
are
something in your house
passionate.
doesn't mean that, you know, everybody else is
No,
gonna like it.
absolutely
you know?
not.
Just,
Yes, we are essential, guys. So
Yeah, definitely. And that's another thing. If you are thinking about selling your house, or, you know, whether it be 1 year, 6 months, or maybe even 3 years down the road, before you do any upgrades just because you feel like it,
Facts.
definitely talk to your realtor first. Be like, hey, am I going to get any kind of return from this? If your realtor says, more than likely, don't put that $100,000 pool in your backyard. You're gonna get an extra 5,000 out of it, right? It's not dollar per dollar, whatever it may be.
Yep.
Converting or putting marble down on your flooring, you know, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter, right? Consult with your realtor, and this is the importance of having a realtor who this is their career. I just talked with somebody today who wants to have 1 foot out, 1 foot in. If you're watching, you know who you are. And I straight up told them, I was like, we're going into a market where you can't do that.
Yeah.
You could do that 2-3 years ago, you know, freaking generate a bunch of leads on social media, send them to some runners. Y'all split the deal. Awesome. You don't necessarily have to be there. But now people are going to rely on realtors being consultants, right?
Yes.
You're not just a salesperson. Now they're going to consult with you. And the way that you make the 100, the 150, the 200, the 300, the $500,000 a year is by having clients who trust you, that you consult. Sometimes it might not even be on a house that they're selling or they're buying, but they trust you so much, and now they're giving you out to their family members who never used you, who never even heard you or seen you on social media.
Yes.
We're going back to that. And I'm not even saying that social media is going away. I'm doubling down on social media. But the part where you're actually a realtor, where you actually work, where people are going to refer you by word of mouth, is the type of work that you're doing for them, what you're delivering for them, the consulting that you're doing for them. A lot of times on the being free. Again, like I was able to tell this person, I'm not going to list this house at that price because the issue that you have is not the issue that you think you have, to the point where I know they're going to go out there and do it themselves, and at one point they're going to come back and ask me to do it for them because I didn't like them. I straight up told them that. They were like, "Oh, my husband's saying how are you going to do this for free?" I was like, "Well, I'm here. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to take the listing just to take the listing, and then I got to waste all my marketing dollars so the house doesn't sell. Yeah, I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
That was even before I looked at it. I was like, that's not what I do. So I looked at it, I give them advice, and then they want to do it themselves, that's fine.
You know what's funny is that a lot of people don't know this, but and I didn't know this until I started using Facebook to market some of these listings and stuff like that. But I started noticing a pattern. I started noticing people would ask me, because I would be pretty vague on it, right? I would just put the house, a phone number, and the price, right? And so I would get a phone call, and they would say, "Hey, is this home being leased by a company or is it a owner to owner?" And I would be like, "Well, what does it matter?" "Oh, no, I don't want to deal with the company." And I'm like, "Well, why not?"
Yep.
Because they never approved me. And I said, "Well, why wouldn't they approve you?" Because I have a criminal record, or I have bad credit, or I have whatever, And so the thing is that these people, these consumers are banking on you not using a realtor. And they're banking on you not using a realtor because they want to take advantage of you. They want to do things their own way. And I'm gonna tell you why. We run a property management company, right? If you don't pay your rent, by the 15th, I already have a court date for you for the 25th, the 28th, right? And a lot of times when people are leasing themselves and that person calls and says, "Hey, can you give me a week?" And they're like, "Oh, okay, well, he's always paid on time. I'm going to give him a week." And then the week turns into the month. And then the month turns into 2 months. And then I get the phone call from the people that didn't want me to property manage their house. And they're like, "Hey, I've had this guy in here 3 months. And they haven't paid rent." So now I got to get involved, and now it takes another 20 days for me to get them out, depending on the day of the month.
And now it costs them even more.
Now it costs them even more.
It always goes back to by trying to, and sometimes it's not even penny pinch. They just don't see the value in what you provide simply because they might have somebody who actually did them bad. Somebody that dealt with a bad realtor.
Yeah.
They didn't do their job, so now they feel like every realtor is like that. So now they're like, "You know what? I just do it myself."
Yep.
It's just going to cost you money. That's why from the very beginning, whenever you're even thinking about doing a home search, I always say this. It's not what you're asking the realtor. It's the questions that your realtor is asking you.
True.
Are they asking the right questions, or are they just sending you straight to a loan officer, or they're just selling you, "Oh, yeah, how much did you want to sell it for?" "Oh, yeah, we'll sell it for that." Mm-hmm. That's not the way that it works. There should be a conversation between you and your realtor. They should walk the house by themselves. They should walk it with you. You should explain to them the value of the house, or the upgrades, what you didn't do, what you did do, the concerns you have on it, the community, right? And then y'all sit down and talk. Pricing is the last thing you should be talking about.
Definitely.
They should be able to digest everything before you get to pricing, because that's what matters. Your why is the main thing that matters. The pricing at the very end, that's what he gets an understanding of where we're going to go with it. Because sometimes you could sell it for the price that you want, but if you need a quick sell, you might need a list lower. Sometimes it's not even about pricing. It's about your situation. If your realtor's not getting to that, that's an issue. That means they're unexperienced or they're just lazy. One of the two.
One of the two.
What do you think, Itzy? You've been quiet over there.
I'm just taking all the knowledge here. I'm just listening, taking notes.
Well,
No,
no,
but-
sometimes I just be talking.
No, but going back to what you say, that somebody's going to be, you know, 1 foot in, 1 foot out in this real estate career. It's just, you know, like you said, now it is, you got to be full time. Because even last year when it was just, you know, I was doing it part time and I was trying to get my, you know, my name out there, I've lost deals because somebody didn't take me seriously because I was part time, you know, and that kind of drove me to be like, you know what, I'm gonna drop my 9 to 5. I'm gonna do this full time. I'm gonna bet on myself, and you know, it's been going good so far. But you know, like stuff like that, you know, somebody needs to take you seriously if you're gonna be full time.
And you know what? That's a whole nother aspect of it that I didn't even bring up because I didn't necessarily go through that, so I wasn't even thinking about that. But there is some clients, especially nowadays, if they're looking for an expert. I mean, how are they gonna take you seriously if you don't make enough money for this to be your full-time job? How are they going to take you seriously for you to handle their most valuable asset that they probably have?
And somebody texted me. They're like, "Hey, we ended up finding somebody that's dedicated to real estate," and that just drove a knife through my heart. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, all right.
I still remember when you told me that. We were at Trending Dumplings with the family. Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? Yeah, okay. This is a turning point right here. I'm done.
This is the sign that I was
it's a
waiting
sign.
for.
Yeah, so two deals dropped because I was part time and not taking it seriously. I'm like, all right, watch me now.
So now that you have, the person again, right? They're watching this. They know who they are. It's fine. What was your experience with their thing? Is being impatient and be like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to make the money that I want to fast enough. I'm gonna get impatient. And I told them, I was like, you're always going to be starting there.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I'm going to go make this money here and then bring it back here, and then I can do this. I was like, well, if you're impatient now, you're going to be impatient then. It doesn't matter how much money you make over there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why don't you go ahead and just take the hit now, put
Yeah.
your 2 years in, when everybody's leaving the industry,
Mm-hmm.
make a name for yourself now, and whenever times are good again, you're going to do quadruple of what you could do, right? Because if you start in 2-3 years from now, once you're quote-unquote ready, you're still going to be impatient,
Yeah.
right? It's still going to take 2 years for you to build it. And what I told him was like, what you don't understand is that you came in at the time whenever you could just throw up videos and you get clients. Now you have to nurture your clients. Now you have to put in that face-to-face. You have to be there for your clients right now.
Oh, no doubt.
And that's the only way you're going to do it.
So right now is a time to get into this business because you actually have you have enough time to learn it, right? You don't have to get into the rat race right away. And what's funny is, well, not funny, but I always say this, say that whenever the market and that was actually a crisis. It was a mortgage meltdown. There was actually insecurity. We didn't know what was going to happen. I was scared for my career. I didn't know what I was going to do. And what ended up happening was that I doubled down. I got to it, started working hard, and just nonstop worked. Just all day, every day to make sure that my income didn't decrease. And what ended up happening was that, I saw so many deals, and no joke. I mean, I'm talking about I would sell, 2 or 3 homes, right? And for back then, we had $100,000 homes, right? So for me, $180,000 home was a banger, bro. That was like, oh wow, this is years ago, And so whenever we went from selling, I went from selling 110 to $150,000 homes to selling 5 $40,000 to $50,000 homes, Mm-hmm. So I sold more, right, and made the same amount of money. And also, some of these had lower commission splits because they were short sales, they were foreclosures, they were HUD home store, the HUD homes, And so when that happened, I got to see and touch so many deals, right? And then I broke out and became a broker, and I started touching all of my realtors' deals that whenever the market shifted and it came back to being super busy again, I was knocking them out the ballpark with zero effort. Nobody could touch me because I knew everything. Remember, who do we bring on? Was it Giancarlo? He said, I know everything.
Yeah.
He said, man, why do I talk? You know everything.
Yeah.
And not, and not that I know everything. It's just I have a lot of experience in real estate.
What's your Spanish saying?
Which
Más
one?
sabe el diablo.
Más sabe el diablo por viejo que por diablo. You know, it's just that.
Can you translate that to English?
I don't know. I guess the devil is more of a devil for being old than being a devil. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it's essentially.
No, but going off of that is just, you're not a one-trick pony. You pretty much, there's a lot of, sides of this real estate game, and that's what I'm learning in my short career so far. But, it's just, you find a way to make it,
I mean, and that's what I was telling these newer agents. Like right now, you're in position to where you're not gonna make a lot of money fast.
No.
You're going to learn so much right now. You're going to deal with all of the crappy deals. You're going to learn so much from them that whenever times do get easy or there's a lot more money in the economy again, whatever it may be, and there's more people buying, you're going to know these deals like the back of your hand, where you're going to be able to do even more, and it's going to help you to be able to scale. Because, something we were talking about earlier, me, you, and Vic, along with Flor, is some stuff that I personally have never even heard about. Vic was like, oh, yeah, they brought this back, in 2016, 2018? Certain things that they were bringing back then that is coming back now regarding loans. I was like, I didn't even know about this.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a way that you could maneuver certain sales, right? And it's just stuff from being in this business so long and learning the ropes.
So there's things that go away whenever you have 2% interest rates, and and when you start inching your way back up to higher interest rates, then those products come back.
The doors open.
And it's a good thing to know all aspects of this business. There's sides of this business that I purposely stay away from, and you know that I give you those deals. I just don't want to deal with them. I'm too old. I don't have. I can help you. I could guide you through them, but I just don't want to deal with them. Personally, and so right now is a time for you to get into that. You'll work, you'll work a foreclosure, you'll work a short sale, you'll work a wholesale, you'll work a regular retail, you'll work a lease, you'll get a property management deal, you'll get
hard-headed client,
just hard-headed client. I mean, right now is a time to work with those deals, and learn the business, and then whenever it picks up again, because remember, as slow as it is right now, something's going to happen, and we're going to get super busy again. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to make a lot of money, and then a bunch of real estate agents are going to come into the market, and then you're going to be where we're at right now, or I'm at right now, where I'm like, oh, my, remember 2019, 2018, they're like, hey, I'm going to get my real estate. When you told me you were getting your real estate license, what did I tell you?
You told me, yeah. And then you just left me there in the wind. Yeah. And then I called this dude, was it 2 months later? Because I did mine online, so I knocked it out pretty quick. I was like, hey, man, I passed. He's like, what did you pass? I got my license, bro. He's like, okay, come over.
Okay, yeah, come talk to me.
Same thing. I told him, I'm like, hey, I'm going to get my license too. And we were at a restaurant. He's like, oh, okay. And he started talking to somebody else. And I told Giovanni, he was like, yeah, he won't take you seriously until you show him that license.
Yeah.
I said, bro, I'm trying to hang out. I want to hang out, bro.
Family time, bro.
I came to hang out, man. I didn't come to talk about real estate license. You know how many times I've been told that? And what's funny is that, when I started in this business, I thought I had found a hack. I thought I was like, oh my God, I'm making so much money. They're giving me money.
You didn't want to share.
Yeah, no, not even.
You're trying to put people on.
I try to tell everybody,
and nobody believed you.
Everybody, and check this out. When I became a broker, I would literally go to people and say, bro, I'll buy you the class. You know how many people I've paid for their classes?
Not me.
No,
Where are we at?
He was already jaded with
by the
he's
time you guys came around,
he was already jaded.
I was
he
done.
was like,
I bought so many people their classes. I said, hey, dude, you have to do this. Just pass it. It's super easy. Pass your license, and I'll help you. We'll make so much money together. But then at that time too, my lifestyle was a little bit, it was smaller too. So it was kind of like growing time. Like you could grow with me at the time. Right now it's just kind of like. I'm trying to maintain my new lifestyle, and it's like, hey, that ain't it. I got to do something else, and so, this, once again, this market right now where we're at right now, it's not bad. The market's not bad at all. I've been in a bad market. Now, this market, you need to work. And so you need to get with a brokerage that helps you work, Yes. And if you get with somebody that teaches you how to work and keeps you accountable, then you'll be good. And then when the market picks up again, you're gonna kill it. You're gonna kill it,
And right now, something that I am seeing on social media, which is crazy, because this wasn't happening 2, 3, 4 years ago, or even when I first got into this business. The brokers, the real brokers who understand the market, who actually put the work in, and they're looking out for the realtors, they're starting to dabble into social media.
Yeah.
They're beefing like in
Yes.
comments. And I'm like,
Yeah.
like where was this at?
Yeah.
Like I'll stay away from those comments. I just throw fire emojis. You know, I'm trying to learn in those comments. You know, I'm not trying to get into it. So it's like it's pretty cool. Again, it's a great time, and not necessarily a bad time, but it's a great time and it's a hard time to be a realtor right now. That's what I would say. It's not bad.
Yeah.
You just got to work. That's it.
But it's gonna make you grateful for it. What is good, it's like, all right, yeah, I'm doing good right now. You know.
I mean, it's funny that you say that because I do see a lot of old school realtors that I knew that are all of a sudden they're on social media and they're scrappy. And I've been throwing shots lately too. I'm like there you go, because everything that I'm saying right now, I've been saying it for the last 4 years, have I not? I mean, I've literally been saying, hey bro, stop doing this. I mean, I even had a few realtors that quit, because I was telling them, hey, I get it. You're on Instagram, on Facebook, and you're making a lot of money, but learn something else too. Let's do something else. And he, he didn't want to listen, quit, went to go do his own thing, and now where is he? I don't know where he's at. He's not. I know he's not making money. Because Vic low key. If you work for Lionsgate Realty and you leave, Vic low key looks at your numbers and lets us know if you're doing good or not.
That's how he gets his morning coffee.
That's how he gets. Yeah,
because he doesn't drink coffee.
he doesn't drink coffee, so that's how he gets sub. He said.
His daily
Getting
buzz.
these stats.
Yeah, that's how he gets his stats. He said, "Yeah, this guy's not doing. These people are not doing." I've even had some realtors that were doing pretty good. That right now they're doing like insurance and they're selling other products.
I saw that.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I said,
New opportunities.
To
Yeah.
me, I think it was probably scarier, like back in 2021, whenever I got my license, because everyone was like, I felt like everyone was running left and right and everywhere, and
Yeah.
at the same time not going nowhere. And I feel like nobody knew what they were doing. Like
no.
They were just running. They were
yes,
working.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
And-
And now I feel like, if you are in the business or if you are getting into the business, I feel like this is, like Nate saying, this is the perfect time. Like, even myself, that I've been in the business for a little bit longer, it's a great time to be learning, like, so many different things.
But what's funny is I didn't want to talk about NAR this podcast, right? Because I went off last freaking week.
That was
but
a good podcast.
but there was Inman did a report about NAR and said that women realtors are going to be the ones that feel the most effect, because apparently they don't get paid as much to begin with, as much as men. And now they're gonna get paid even less. And
commission.
So I said, no. So I said,
What is commission?
so I said, yeah. There was a guy that was coming, and I said, well, the reason that is because all these women did these women teams, right? And how many, if you look at a women team, right? How many closings do they really have? And let's just say they have 6 closings a month, which is pretty good for a team, right? All right, you have 6 closings a month. Okay. You have to get everybody paid. Everybody gets paid from those closings, So the thing is that, yeah, if women are the ones that feel the most effect, it's because they're teaming up with these teams. And not just that, also the teams themselves, they you're not making as much money as you should be in these teams,
But I see, like, these brokers online, like, hiring teams, like, left and right.
Yes.
Why?
So, and I would, it's tough being a broker. It's really tough being a broker. So when and that's why we have sales managers. We have sales managers that we pay,
Full memory.
right? It does not affect your commission. Our
Right.
teams are totally different. I don't like to call them teams to other people, because people say, "Oh, you have a team?" No. I don't have a team. I have a sales manager. That sales manager has a sales team. And they get that. That does not change the pay of the realtors, and they help each realtor become a successful realtor.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Now,
For Itzy.
with me, we pay them out of pocket. We pay them out of pocket, and we pay them from our pay, right? Now, with the team, with the team leaders and the teams that they have out there in these franchises, it's different, because what happens is that the broker gets, it's hard for him to deal with people. So essentially what he does is he sets up a team leader that is essentially like his own little brokerage inside of a brokerage.
Okay.
So he just has to talk to one person,
Instead of the whole.
and that person deals with all his team. Okay?
That makes
But
sense.
get this. He gets a cut from everybody, the broker, including the team lead. And so the team lead, all he has to do is close all his realtors to give up their commissions and their leads and everything to him so that he could run through his cap real quick. And then they start working on the other people's caps. And then there's always like the lowly, realtors in the area. Those are the ones that go to the closings, and go and do the walkthroughs and go and do the showings and stuff like that. They're the ones that really, really don't get anything. They don't learn anything. All they're just happy to be part of the team, And I hate that. It really does bother me that they run their business like that,
You know what I'm?
Yeah,
you know
but
what
they-
I'm waiting for? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. go
I
ahead.
mean, I'm sorry that I interrupted you. They run those things because they have hyped them up. Like, they're telling them that, hey, like,
that,
we're a team. We're a
eventually they're
team.
going to be like
Yes,
that. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Eventually they're going to be like that. You're a team. You're part of this greater big thing. You're part of this. But the thing is this: if you have a team, let's just say you have a team of 5, okay? Out of that 5, there's always, of course, the team lead, which is the one that the team is named after, right? Okay, the team lead is awesome. He dresses awesome. He has an awesome car. He has an awesome house. He is the top 10 under 30, under 20, under whatever, right? Awards like crazy, right? What about the other ones? What do they get? What are they driving around in?
They're the minions.
What are they doing? They're the minions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I detest that. I hate that, I'm not saying all teams run their team like that because there's some teams that go under brokerages and run their company like a real brokerage, And there's brokers that do the same. They go under like EXP
Yes.
and run their brokers like a real brokerage, and they're really good about it. Like, and I'm gonna shout out, Chris Hardy. Chris Hardy runs a really good team, even though it's under the worst real estate company in the world. But that almost, that almost obliterated
Backhanded
our
compliment.
freaking thing. No. But the way he teaches and treats his realtors is awesome. I commend him. And but unfortunately, not everybody is like that. I say a power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yeah, and so that's the problems that you run into this.
One thing I will say that I'm waiting for this year is I'm trying to see in the real estate industry, because we've had a crazy year so far. We started off with the Cat Williams interview. We had somebody who met with Cat Williams personally on the podcast, and now we have the Diddy situation. And I'm trying to see for real estate who was going to be, did he do it or didn't he do it? Real estate. I'm trying to see it. Yeah. In real estate, it's going to happen. All these
Wait.
lawsuits is happening in real estate.
Yeah.
You don't think there's a Diddy of real estate? There has to be a Diddy.
Gotta be a
I think we know a
broker.
few.
I
know.
We
I know.
Diddy broker.
I know a few Diddies. I don't want to name them because they sit on the board.
Just to let y'all know, we don't go to
Hard.
no parties. We don't go to no white parties or nothing. We do only Lionsgate Realty parties. That's the only parties I go to. personally.
I've actually been to a place where there was a member of the board of HAR and yeah, he's been known for doing stuff and he always gets away with it. And I was like, why is he getting away with all this? Just really, really inappropriate. And he's still.
It's
he's
not
still
what
there.
you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't we cover that
So
last
I don't know.
time?
I don't know.
And sometimes they hire for that purpose, to be honest. I mean, it's like,
Sometimes they get elected for a reason, man. They must know something, So who knows?
I'll say something, right, about this. Whenever I lived in Baytown, that's what I'll say. I have a very, special special place in my heart for Baytown, because Baytown's very pure. When I lived out in Baytown, people cheat.
Especially the air.
People cheat on their wives in private in Baytown.
What kind
Down
of
here in
air?
Houston, they cheat on their wives in open. I see it all the time, which is crazy. I'm like, bro, have some respect for your
Within
wife.
the own
Don't take your
city,
wife and your
bro.
girlfriend to the
Hey.
same place. That's
So what
nuts,
kind of
bro.
Bro.
Now you're gonna have everyone flock to Baytown.
Yeah.
Hey, in
Baytown is pure. They cheat on their wife in secret.
in McAllen, bro.
Inside the refinery,
You
yeah.
can get inside the
They
refineries.
do it in the refinery. The wife can't go
Oh
there.
my
Yeah.
You don't got no
God.
Twit
They
card.
gotta leave the lunch outside the gate. You know what I'm saying? They can't get in.
To see the lunch lady.
in McAllen, dude, there's like whole affairs that that everybody knows about except for the wife. And I'm like, how the
Wow.
heck does the wife not know that? They're all having lunch, they're all hanging out, they're all doing events. I'm like,
Damn.
wow. Like everybody knows, but nobody says nothing. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's a good model.
Maybe she just
That's
doesn't
fair.
want to know. Maybe she doesn't want to know. It's just she's living that good blue collar life.
Hey, maybe
And
it's
that
like
blue
those
collar
TikToks.
money.
Yeah, maybe it's like those TikToks where it's like my millionaire husband's cheating on me and they walk past like this.
Yeah, these guys are not millionaires. These
Yeah,
guys
they're
are
not.
builders. These guys are builders.
Yeah, but like I
Cheating with-
said,
these are builders cheating with realtors.
Back on
bro.
taxes,
Yeah.
yeah.
but it's like they're getting that money. They don't want to know.
Yeah.
It's just as long as they get that money. they're good.
But I mean, I say that's coming. We've had too many lawsuits within this industry already. That's next.
No,
And it's not like this industry does not have plenty of that.
I'm gonna tell you what's coming. What's coming is they've already sued. They sued Keller Williams. They sued Remax. Right. These are two of the biggest franchises. Right. And of course, they're gonna sue EXP. I'm sure EXP has had lawsuits. But what's gonna start happening and already happened. They sued a mom and pop real estate company. So they're gonna start suing these smaller companies. And once that starts happening, it is over for the 100% realtor. It is over for these teams. It's over for all this stuff. And quite honestly, that's really what needs to happen. All the realtors need, the brokers need to come together and start talking about that. Let's start talking about, hey, you can have your little team all you want, but you're not gonna put your big old team logo over my logo. That's
Yes.
supposed to be.
That's supposed to.
Yes,
That's against the code.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But nobody says nobody says anything. It's like Baytown. Nobody says anything. They just let it happen, And so that's what's gonna start happening. You're gonna start seeing a lot of tightening up, and honestly, in about maybe 10 years from now, if you guys are still in this industry, this is gonna be all. We're gonna look back at this, and say, hey, remember the time when this and that, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I remember. Remember I told you it's gonna go away.
Remember them
That's,
realtors cussing on
I
TikTok?
think I really do think that's next. I do think there's gonna be a big Me Too within the real estate industry. And the reason why it will happen is because people don't like realtors as it is.
Mhm.
So people are gonna double down on it. Like outside of the real estate industry, nobody cares about the Me Too thing anymore. It's just like a hashtag now. But within the real estate industry, people don't like realtors as it is. They're just gonna double down on it. They're gonna be like awesome, and it's gonna be like another TV show. It's just, everybody's gonna tune in to watch what's going on with that court case or whatever it may be, and I'm genuinely excited about it.
Realtors are like
really
other
excited about
realtors.
it.
That's terrible.
Giovanni said, I'm ready to
Hey,
snitch."
sir, would you like to testify? Yes, I saw him there, and then the next day his wife was right there too. Yeah.
Hey, but check this out. I'm gonna tell you something real quick. So my son, his boss introduced him to a guy that's a jeweler, right? And and they went to go. I guess his boss was fixing his Rolex, and so there the guy was pretty much telling him, like, hey, I have all these Rolexes, whatever. And my son was, hey, I know some guys who will buy these for me. He said, hey, I'll give you a broker's fee if you want to broker them out, So anyways, my son started sending me a whole bunch of pictures of Rolexes and stuff like that, right? And I'm like, oh, wow. I said, how much are they? And so then, my son was like giving me prices. And I was looking, I'm like, oh, my God. I said, these prices are super low. I said, is this like a wholesale? I thought it was a plug, right? And so then when my son came home that night, he was talking to me. He was like, hey, you know what he told me? He said, he told me that all these freaking Rolexes are on consignment from realtors.
Yeah.
And he
Let me
said,
see what you got.
And he goes,
They
"Yeah,
got it.
no.
Send me the number.
He didn't bring Rolex today.
He said they're all on consignment from
Yeah.
realtors. He said the jeweler said that realtors have been coming like crazy, just like, hey, sell this watch for me, sell this watch for me. And so I was actually looking at a watch. I don't want to buy a watch right now, right? I'm not ready to buy a watch. I'm too busy, getting some stuff ready for my daughter's graduation. But he sent me a picture of a really nice Daytona, and all gold one. And I said, hey, how much is a Daytona? And so then the guy's like, hey, this is the price. And so then I'm like, all right. So then I said, I just threw a price at him, and the guy met me halfway. And so then I was like, oh no, I'm good. Then the guy calls me probably like an hour or two later, says, hey, he said he'll do it for this, he'll do it for your price. Go ahead, but you got to do it today. I'm like, bro, these guys are desperate, man. They're like trying to dump their Rolexes. They're trying to dump.
wild.
And I said, so pretty much, you're going to start seeing the sales of Rolexes. You're gonna start, and it's a funny story because whenever we had the mortgage meltdown, I remember real estate agents that had 7 Series BMWs. They had awesome cars, dude, awesome cars. They were buying all these cars. And then the next thing you know, these things were being traded in, and they were driving Hondas. They were driving Toyotas. They were working at Bell's Furniture. It was crazy. That's a true story. I ran into a realtor that was a great realtor working at Bell's Furniture, and I know that he was embarrassed. And I felt bad. I was like being cool. I'm like, oh yeah, man, like I was being cool with him, and I know he felt embarrassed. And that's what's gonna happen now. And so the thing is that, right now, you're still seeing realtors post like, oh yeah, I'm at the Lambo store, or I'm buying a Maybach.
I'm going to
Going to Dubai. I'm going to whatever. You still see these realtors that are doing this, right? But you got to remember the faucet is not off. The faucet has just been turned a bit, and so they still have money that they made. But that's gonna start dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. And so what happens is this, and I tell this to all. I'll tell this to all realtors. I say, hey, whatever you were doing, stop doing it. Stop doing it, because it's not gonna work anymore. And all you're doing is you're misguiding new realtors, or realtors that are trying to get ahead, thinking that if they follow you, right, they're gonna make money. You're not a mentor. You're a influencer that made money.
Thinking that everything is easy.
Yes.
I seen somebody post like, "Hey, follow my team. I could train you, and I could guide you in the right direction." And they're just
they're making
an
all the
influencer.
money.
If you haven't been in this business, prior to the boom that we've had, you can't train anybody to do anything for what's coming.
What I am seeing, because I don't, again, right, I do have a soft spot in my heart for like these realtors who do a lot of stuff on social media, the realtors who are doing it properly, and they're seeing, the horizon, and they're starting to adjust. I'm starting to see the realtors who understand where the market is heading to. They're switching their style of content, and not just that, they're joining a brokerage that's going to back them up.
Yeah.
Properly, right? So they can focus on what they do good, which is the content, because content, as it switches, there's a lot of experimentation that you have to do with it. Every piece of content is not going to work. You might have figured it out the last 4 years, but now it's completely different. Now everybody's looking for, okay, what's the next thing? Is it going to be me grocery shopping? Like that one dude who got a freaking Target contract, right?
Oh, man,
Or grocery
yeah.
shopping at Target. Is it going to be that? Like, am I giving out information to my clients? Like, what am I showing my lifestyle? Am I showing my kids? Of course, being half naked no longer works unless you're doing OnlyFans, right? And that's going to go away with AI and Sora, right? So like what's gonna work now? And social media, as it's changing, you kind of have to double down on what's always worked, and that's just the face-to-face.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
Yes.
Whatever way it is that you get face-to-face with somebody, whether that be letter writing, cold calling, door knocking, going out to bars, drinking, buying tables, and hanging out with them, whatever's your thing to get face-to-face with somebody, that's what's working right now, until you figure out what's going to happen on social media. Social media it's a plug and play right now. We don't know what's going to work.
We don't know what's gonna work, but you know
It's
what's
going to work, but we don't know what is going to work.
So what's funny is that last week I went off right on the whole NAR. I was going off on NAR, right, and I wasn't talking bad about Keller Williams at all. All I was stating was the obvious, or the facts. The facts is that they were named in the lawsuit. So was Remax, right? So I was just saying, hey, you know what? We need to do this. Keller Williams needs to step it up. Why isn't Keller Williams helping us? I even said, why is NAR not helping us, right? Because they're the ones that made these settlements without even discussing it with anybody. And so what was funny to me is that I started getting a lot of follows. And I was like, what the heck? And all of the people that were following me, most of them were from Keller Williams.
Keller Williams.
Wow.
Like literally their names were like
Big support.
Keller Williams so-and-so, Keller Williams this, Keller Williams that. And then I even had somebody say, hey, bro, even though you came on my broker, man, I agree 100%. I'm like, bro, I'm not coming at your broker. I'm only stating facts here. I'm not talking bad about Keller Williams. Keller Williams is a good real estate company. They are really good in making real estate agents feel like they are a corporation, right? And they are. They are a corporation, but not a corporation of realtors, okay? They just give you all kinds of training to make you feel like you're part of a bigger thing, which is what everybody wants. Nobody wants to come in and be a realtor and be on their own, or be with a small boutique brokerage and be out there fighting and fighting it out with other people and struggling and growing. They want to be part of something that, hey, I'm Keller Williams and I have all these franchises and we're all a team and we're going to give you training every day and we're going to give you training on stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with selling real estate, but we're going to make you feel like you're doing something. You
That's
know?
what the motto that all of this.
You know what I
like, life
find
insurance.
you know what I find so interesting about these Keller Williams agents who are backing up their quote unquote their broker, right? It's so funny because I read these comments on other people's videos and I'm just like, imagine like if you saw this somewhere else, like imagine if you saw like McDonald's working beefing with freaking Jack in the Box workers because somebody was fucking trapped. Like you don't see that nowhere else, bro.
You haven't
Like,
seen
you
that?
don't even know the owner. You don't even know the owner. At least if it's like some burger or the burger joint down here,
Yeah.
you know, I get to meet the owner, the chef who did 20 years in jail or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Then I'll back him up. You know what? He's a good guy now. You know, I actually know him. I'm gonna support them. I'm gonna back them up. But I mean, McDonald's, like, you're gonna back up McDonald's, bro? Like, you're not even getting a good check from there, bro. Like, that's nuts.
So I was talking to my attorney, right? And I was like, I was making fun of all this, and I was saying, hey man, this is nuts. Keller Williams, even though they were directly named in the lawsuit, these people are, their realtors are defending it like it's crazy. They're defending Keller Williams, and he said, I said, do they not know what's going on? And he says, no, they don't know what's going on. He goes, they only know, believe me, before they even caught a lawsuit, before they even started coming up with a game plan, they had already talked to their realtors and got them ready for what was coming. And probably told them, lies, who knows,
Brainwashed
right?
them.
Brainwashed them. But the thing is that he says, but their attorneys for sure have told them not to speak on the NAR settlement.
Yeah.
And NAR too. That's why nobody has said anything. Nobody has said, I mean, they give us everything that's public record, right?
Yeah.
But they haven't given a full they haven't said, hey, you know what?
They haven't given a full
A
statement.
full statement on any of that, They haven't given us an explanation.
All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and close out here. Before we leave, I want you to comment down below, who do you think is the Puff Daddy of the real estate industry? Let me know. If you got some cheese, man, just put it down below. Let us know in the comment section.
Oh.
This is getting
I'm-
spicier.
yeah,
and
man.
spicier
Go
by
ahead.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want that on my front.
Yeah, I want to know who it is. That way, whenever it actually gets out, we can go back and revisit the comments, and I'll give you a $20 gift card if you win. I'm going to go exit,
Hopefully we
floor,
don't-
exit.
Hopefully we don't get shut down.
I'll tell you the Epstein of the.
Yeah, no.
I'll name his name. You want me to name his name?
No, not right
No, we don't want to get shut down.
Let's see what we see it in the comments.
All right.
Yeah.
This is Flor Velasquez with Lionsgate Realty. You can find me in all my social media as Flor Velasquez Realtor. We'll see you next Wednesday.
And I'm Nathan Malderas. I'm with Lionsgate Realty. I'm the master broker here. You can find me on all my social media outlets at Better Call Nate.
And this is Jerry with Lionsgate Realty at Jerry HTX Realtor. All my social medias, and find me for your next investment property. All right.
This is Itzia with Lionsgate Realty, and you can find me on It's the Realtor on Instagram.
As always, I am your gracious host here at the HBR podcast with Lionsgate Realty, Giovanni Frank. Until next time.
You didn't give us.
I didn't even know we started. I didn't even